So, oftentimes you tell people I have CIDP and they're just like, well, what the fuck does that mean? And then you tell them that it stands for chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy, and they're still like, well, what the hell does that mean? So the best way that I can think of to describe it is sort of like MS of the peripheral nervous system, because as many of us know, MS deals with the central nervous system, primarily on the brain. There's lesions on the brain, so there's demyelination of the myelin on the brain, which is the central nervous system. So that's what MS is, and you get very similar symptoms with CIDP, because CIDP also deals with demyelination, and it's basically just demyelination of the peripheral nervous system. So all of the nerves outside of the brain and spinal cord, so the ones in your arms, your legs, your stomach, your butt, everything really. So demyelination of basically the wires. So you have, say you got a computer, right? You got a computer. You got like the circuit board and you got the wires. So with MS, the circuit board is fried, but the wires are completely intact. They're completely fine. They're working great. Whereas CIDP, the circuit board is completely fine, but the wires are all frayed. That's basically the analogy that I use when I'm trying to explain CIDP or explain the difference between MS and CIDP, because they are pretty similar. And if someone wants to know what it feels like to have CIDP, I tell them that it's sort of like, when you go out in the cold and you come back inside and your extremities are all numb and tingly and burning and very weak. Like if you were to try to go like this with your hands, like as fast as you could, you'd probably only be able to go like this. I mean, it depends how fast or how cold you are. But yeah, you're weaker, you have numb and tingly sensations, very kind of burning and painful. That's what it feels like to have CIDP, except all the time. Adding heat to it, unlike when you come in from the cold, actually makes it worse. Just like the cold can actually make it worse. And for a lot of people, CIDP also is characterized by very cold feet. I think, in my opinion, I'm not a medical professional, so this is just a guess. I'm just guessing that it's because you have less muscles in your lower legs, like because they're just atrophied from CIDP, and because of that, the venous system versus the arterial system is very low pressure system because it's so far away from the heart, because the arteries can pump blood out, and it's pretty powerful pumping. And then when you go down to like when you get down here, it's a pretty low pressure system because the heart is so far away. Like the pumping mechanism is so far on the other side of the body that it's a pretty low pressure system. So veins are a bit different than arteries because they have little valves, so that the blood doesn't go backwards, which would be terrible. So they have little valves, and that's how they keep blood going in the same direction. And they also, the lower legs depend on muscular contractions in order to help pump the blood back up. So that's why when I was coaching track, I would tell the kids to, like, when you're resting in between your repeats, I wanted them to be jogging around, or at the very least walking around, because then the blood would not be pooling. The blood would be getting pumped up back to the heart more efficiently. And once you stop moving around, once you stop those contractions, the heart loses that help that it had just a second ago. So that's how it applies to running. So I think that it can also apply to CIDP. So that's just my theory. I could be way off. I don't really know. So anyway, I hope all that was helpful. Let me know in the comments down below what you think, and I'll see you later.